it's Shell from Scrap Secrets and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we're going to be using stamped images as well as die cuts to create a cohesive card. So this card is for somebody in the From the Heart Facebook group, and she reads mysteries, but then she also reads to children. So I thought that it would be great to do a booked theme scene because I wanted to do a scene card, and I didn't have enough stamped images to create a whole scene, but then I also didn't have enough die cuts to create a scene. So I thought, let's do a technique where we can use them together and hopefully make a seamless scene. I didn't want it to look like some of it was paper pieced together and then others were stamped and colored. So what I decided to do was use the Hero Arts contour ink to ink up the images, and then these images, I believe it's called Storytime is the stamp set, and I picked the girl in a chair, I picked the little side table, and then the stack of books. I did stamp them separately because I thought that I was going to stamp them as one, but then I realized I was going to cut them out, so it didn't really matter. So I went ahead and let that dry for a couple of seconds while we're going to be using these dies. And this is from one of the sets that they have. They have a lot of like accessories to different rooms. I actually saw somebody the other day that was doing all different kinds of rooms around the house. They have kitchen ones, they have bathroom ones, they have ones obviously for like sitting rooms, TV, and then they also have stuff for movie theaters, which you've seen me use. I use that for Allie's present. There's like concession stand, popcorn stand, there's like a relaxing spa day kind of thing, there's work ones. So there's a ton of different dies that you can get to create scenes with this, and they are scaled so that you can put multiple things in the scene. So I'm going to go ahead and color with some colored pencils. You can see that I have really, really sharp points on there. I got an electric pencil sharpener. I had the Prismacolor one, and for some reason, it just wasn't making good enough points on there. The points were breaking, so I decided to get an electrical one and see if that would work, and I found it works really, really well. I took a whole bunch of pencils and sharpened them pretty well before I started coloring colors that I thought that I was going to use. So you're just going to see me go back and forth. What would have really helped here would have been Gamsol, but if you guys have been with me for a while, you know my disdain for Gamsol. It leaked all over one of the carts, and it was a pain in the butt to get up. I've knocked it over a couple times. So if Gamsol does come back in this house at some point, I have to figure out a better container to put it in. I need one of those ones with like little sponge daubers on the top so that I can just put, just dip the pencil into the sponge dauber, not actually have it open and have it spill all over the place. So while you're watching me color, I thought I would tell you a little bit about what's going on here. There probably won't be a ton of videos over the next couple weeks. I've filmed this already and I'm just doing the voiceover now. Unfortunately, I have some really sad news, and I'm going to try to do my best without getting upset. If you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, you already know, but unfortunately, Lucy passed away Wednesday morning. It was kind of sudden, and it was, but it wasn't. She had been, looking like she was in pain with her arthritis for a couple of days. And I called the regular vet and the urgent care vet, and because she was stable, they weren't going to take her in. We thought she could wait. I thought she could wait. And then for 4.5, 5 hours, something like that later, she was not okay. So packed her in her carrier, and I thought it was just her arthritis, brought her to the emergency vet, and very similarly to what happened with Fred, it was like deja vu, PTSD all over again. It was the same place, but they were so good with Fred, so that's the other emergency vet was not good with Fred. I was not happy with them, so I went to the same one that I went to with Fred. The second time, Fred was in the emergency vet twice. And unfortunately, I had to make the hardest decision of my life ever, other than having to do the same thing for Fred, and do the kindest thing ever. So they the test results came back, and it obviously was not good news. And I waited for my parents to get there so that they could say goodbye. And so like 2:00 in the morning, we said goodbye to her. And then I came home and went to bed. The boys were obviously confused as to what's going on, and because I thought she was coming back, I didn't get them, they didn't get a chance to say goodbye. But when I was talking to my coworker, he had said they said goodbye in their own way to each other. And I did see Brownie that day earlier actually like give her a couple kisses on the nose. And then she actually did, while I was on a Teams call with that same coworker, Lucy did come up to me and was like, I picked her up and she let me. And she was like snuggling with me for a while. And she had been snuggly throughout the week. So I think she knew, and I think the boys knew. So I'm going to go with she and they were able to say goodbye to each other. So anyway, so that's kind of what's been going on. And I apologize for my little, like, weepy sounding, but it's, today was hard because I got her ashes back today, which I was not expecting. And yesterday, my sister-in-law and brother and the girls sent me this really adorable figurine of a girl holding a gray cat. So everything is in place. So, it was a rough day. But, the boys and I are just doing the best that we can. The boys are being snuggly. They're being good, and I'm trying to be patient with them. So, okay, so that's kind of what's going on. So I'm going to go back to the card for a minute. I used one of the honeybee dies. It's like a wood plank. And now I'm just running over the image with a couple different colors of colored pencil and pressing a little bit harder sometimes and pressing a little bit softer sometimes to kind of just fill in the areas. What you could have done was scribble some color down first and then run it through your machine, like scribble it down just kind of like all over the place, and then it would get into those little crevices. I did have to press a little bit harder to get into those, but if you color it first, same thing like if you would do with Distress inks, Distress oxides, or regular inks, and then run it through, it would put the color down into the impressed areas, and then you'd be able to color it darker over top of it. So then I guess just back to Lucy a little bit. So today was a rather rough day, but I did go out for a little bit. I have been going out. I've been trying to keep myself busy. I think I got to bed at like 3:30 Wednesday morning, and then was up at 6:00, and I was out the door to go to an account call. I should have called off from work, but I decided I didn't want to, and I just needed to keep myself busy. I was there for like about 4 hours. I was out of the house for about 6, and it was nice to kind of be able to think about something else for a little while. But so, that's why you probably won't see anything from me for a little bit, but I just wanted to let you guys know. Okay, so again, let's go back to the card. I am now gluing things into place. You can see that it kind of is coming together. I did go ahead and color those die cuts with the colored pencils, and I think that helped them be cohesive because then they were all the same colors rather than cutting them out of colored cardstock and then gluing them together. So gluing all the books in, putting some in stacks, putting some straight up, and I think I even tilted one to the side. That lamp is part of the same die cut set that we used for the bookshelves and everything. That pattern piece of paper, I don't know, it was just randomly found on my floor, and I was like, oh, I just like that. It was like, it kind of went with the colors. I liked the blue and the book, and so it's somewhere between the blue and the book and like that bluish green in her skirt, her dress, whatever. So I was trying to stay with kind of relatively the same colors and not introduce anything else, and I really liked that, and I thought that looked nice for kind of like a wallpaper background. So I glued the floor down, and then I'm gluing the pieces down. What really helps you get a little bit of dimension is not to glue everything in the same plane, like have the bookshelf is back a little bit and her chair is a little bit more forward, and then the table is kind of in between. So what you want to do is you want to to give the scene a little bit more depth is to not glue things in a straight line, but move them down a little bit so that it looks like things are forward or back. And obviously the things that are closest to you will appear the largest. So that's why I wanted to do it. That chair next to that bookshelf was kind of maybe a little bit out of proportion. So if I put it in the back a little bit, it would appear that it was further back and it was actually taller in real life. So I am using my Bearly Arts glue to go ahead and glue everything together. This is the clock, which was really cute. This is the first time I've used this set, and I didn't realize all of the cute things that were inside of it. And I do have to use some of the other ones. I think that I used the toilet paper one in a card, but I definitely have like the theater stuff. I know I use the theater seats, but I have like the popcorn machine and things like that, the concession stand. So there are definitely other things that I need to use. And once I get back into my craft room, I will be making stuff more. I have some more goals, and I still have that challenge to use things that I haven't used. So this is one of the things that got knocked off my list because now I did use it. I am stamping the Have a Novel Birthday in some Lawn Fawn Jet Black ink, and that will be the card front. And then I'm just going to glue it to an A2 size card base with that same glue. Hopefully this voiceover makes sense. I probably was rambling a little bit. My brain has been a little bit fuzzy. I have not been sleeping or eating well over the past about 2 weeks. I think Lucy, I think my head kind of knew that this was coming. So I just have been a ball of nerves. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you have comments or questions, please feel free to leave them below, and I'll see you guys real soon for another video.